From rhyme to reason, this shit ain't easy. Grandmaster Flash, who perfected the craft of cutting and scratching, and who united DJing with MCing to take hip hop to a higher level, drops the gem on us. Hip hop is the only genre of music that allows us to talk about almost anything. It is highly controversial, but that's the way the game is. The same thing can be said about philosophy. It allows us to reflect on and argue about almost anything. It is too highly controversial. As a matter of fact, philosophy was so controversial in ancient Athens that its most influential philosopher, Socrates, caught a case for corrupting the youth with it and was sent to death row for dropping science on the streets. Socrates' intricate arguments, not unlike the much sweated lyrical technique of Rakim, frustrated his interlocutors, often tying them up in knots before they were able to reach a higher state of enlightenment. And since the hatreds couldn't understand him and the young heads couldn't get enough of him, the government smoked the greatest philosopher of this time. Yeah, that's the way the game is. Philosophy is an ancient discipline devoted to the pursuit of wisdom, but how should we pursue it? Well, like the notorious big, supernatural, and most deaf Socrates, let his knowledge flow straight from his dome in mental battles with lesser minds. He engineered the pursuit of wisdom by asking people about the grounds of their beliefs and dropped a strategic series of probing questions on them to test the validity of their answers. The Socratic incubus, or cross-examinations freestyle as it came to be known, suggests that true wisdom about God, love, virtue, trust, justice, or whatever, it is best pursued by modifying one's beliefs in response to integration and counterexamples. Fans of hip-hops will peep the fact that Socrates' stilo is similar to the call and response style used by talent MCs putting in work to answer life's pressing questions by engaging in epic lyrical battles that sometimes turn into beefs. Although the release of Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight was hip-hop's first major commercial hit, introducing hip-hop to a broader audience, real students of the game know that hip-hop was in full effect long before that hit dropped in '79. Students of hip-hop history remember when Boogie Down Productions on their classic cut The Bridge Is Over made it painfully clear to MC Sean and the QB crew that hip-hop music did not start on the streets of Queensbridge. Before the rise of the BDP in the South Bronx and Africa Bambaataa and the mighty Zulu Nation before them, there was DJ Kool, here in the West Bronx, inventor of the cut and scratch. Herc rocked the streets of the boogie down with two techniques, turntables and a mixer, and Hercular speakers with his signature Apache mix. So check it. Putting aside the unforgettable Bronx Queensbridge beef on the questions of where it all got started, but way back when. This much is clear from Project recreation centers to outdoor street parties, fully equipped with DJs, MCs, fat speakers, graffiti artists, and breakdancers. Hip-hop came from the streets, word up, but so did philosophy, not from the streets of New York or Compton, but from the streets of ancient Athens more than 2,000 years before hip-hop, where Socrates used verbal intercourse to school young heads on how the unexamined life was not worth living and encouraged them to develop their minds and scratch for the truth, like KRS-One is still doing today. The bottom line is that hip-hop and philosophy examinations on life on the street and search for wisdom by those from the street, word is bond. But as we all know, philosophy did not remain on the streets of Athens. It went international, traveling to the far reaches of the globe, and is now considered one of mankind's most esteemed disciplines. Plato, Socrates' greatest pupil, thought that philosophy was so essential that only philosopher kings were fit to rule the republic, and as if with philosophy, hip-hop has not remained on the streets of urban America. In less than 3 decades, its reach has extended to the entire world, and it has be and it has become synonymous with American popular culture. Back in the day, Curtis Blow imagined what it would be like if a rapper ruled the world, and after they acquired the knowledge, hip hop legends Run DMC proclaimed that themselves King Rock and demanded the sucker MCs call them sire, which brings us to why we two duns born and raised in the hood decided to drop the gem on them. The aim the aim of the Open Court series on popular culture and philosophy is used to use popular culture as a medium to introduce philosophy to a general audience. This is all good, but this series wouldn't be complete without a volume that unites hip hop and philosophy, moving seamlessly between the ivory tower and the boulevard, all for the sake of the love of wisdom. No doubt some critics will characterize the mixing of philosophy and hip hop as a preservative union of the sacred and profound. Yet our intent is to highlight the often suppressed fifth element of hip hop knowledge to represent the funky ass ways that philosophy is carried out in everyday life, often in unexpected places and using unconventional means. Philosophizing is something we all do. At least some of the time. True that some hip hop artists have turned the game into a way to get paid, and some philosophers have done the same, but recorded companies don't own hip hop and universities don't own philosophy. Both belong to whoever understands, loves, and respects them. The track laid down in this volume takes the point of view. They show that how taking both hip hop and philosophy seriously furthers our quest for knowledge. Rakim and St. Thomas Aquinas school us on the nature of God. Lauryn Hill and Plateau and the reveal of the mysterious loves. Lil Kim and the satyr knowledge us on the objectifying gaze. Ice Cube and Camp Pounder the legitimacy of punishment. Nas and Hegel probe the depths of self-consciousness. Missy Elliott and Damian Hume demonstrate how one can be feminist and yet love hip-hop. Dead Prez and France Fanon identify subtle challenges to living an authentic life. Underground rap, Thomas Hobbes enrich our understanding of what it means to be revolutionary. KRS-One and the Paramasters shed light on the benefits and risks of violence. Hip hop on violence. Hip hop cinema and Cornel West help us to avoid confusing race with culture. David Chappelle and John Stuart Mill hip us to the ethics of using terms such as bitch and nigga. Common and Rennie perception and public enemy. Common and Rennie Discrets investigate how the mind gains knowledge through perception and public enemy. John Lockley teaches us how to recognize and respond to injustices. Rock One and Wu-Tang Clan has said of rap to flow that shit is not easy. Rap to me is slang poetry. It answers your questions why young kids is doing bad, why they turn to drugs to get away from their misery. This is the shit we talk about and how to escape it. The same is true of a philosophy. It answers your questions, but only if you have discipline and patience, like Bamta, looking for a perfect beat. So to accomplish our vulnerable mission, we have assembled a Wu-Tang-like clan of highly skilled philosophers who are hip-hop fans and have infiltrated the universities of America. Sholin style to gangster doctorates in philosophy or PhD clan is representing the boogie down. Queensbridge, Brooklyn, Philly, the West Coast, Chi-Town, the ATL, the dirty South Jamaica, and all points in between with one common aim, namely to illuminate the philosophical significance of hip-hop. Each one teach one. KRS-One, Rakim, MC Leary, Pac, Nas, and other great lyricists use rhyme skills to teach us daily life lessons. Our clan of philosopher kings and queens will move from rhyme to reason to take up perennial philosophical questions that have perplexed MCs and philosophers alike. And believe us, this shit ain't easy.